right, Kota, let's see what you wrote here today in this new set of essays. We've got the leaves, the tea leaves. The diagram illustrates the production of 5 different types of tea with 3 to 7 steps depending on the tea types. It all starts with sorting and cleaning the tea leaves to end with the final procedure of drying or cooling. Okay, good. After the fresh tea leaves get sorted and cleaned, generally the next step would be withering. However, to make white tea, the leaves will be steamed and then dried right after sorting. By steaming the leaves and then rolling to shape or what's going on here? By steaming the leaves and then rolling to shape or drying with added jasmine, the product will become green tea. Good. The procedure for oolong tea is slightly different. The leaves will be put into a rolling basket to bruise the tea leaves, the leaf edges, followed by short fermentation. Then it will be heated before the final procedure of drying. By fermenting fully and after heating, it becomes black colored. You know what? Just clean this up. By fermenting fully and after heating until it becomes black. This is still awkward. Let's try it one more time. By fermenting fully and heating until black, the product becomes black tea. That makes more sense. Let me try it again. By fermenting fully and heating until it becomes black, the product will be black tea. Fine. Let's see. Additionally, the scented tea will require 3 more steps added to either green, black, or oolong tea. Once you get either, well, it's not either because either is good for 2. But you have 3, so you can't say either. Once you get any of the leaves dried, they will be sent into the section of adding smell. This is awkward. Let's try it one more time. Once you have the leaves dried, they will have scent by flower or fruits added. And then cool is still awkward. I'm trying to change it around, as you can see, keeping as much of what you wrote as possible. I'm having a little difficult time. So once you dry the leaves, let's try that. You know what? I don't really like once you dry the leaves. Let me try it one more time. Sorry. Once the leaves are dried, they will have scent added with fruits or flowers and are then cooled to get ready. Something like that. I still don't love it, but it's a little better. I really like a lot of what you did. What was right here was very right. I like the way you organized this. I thought you, in terms of what you included and what you didn't include and the way you organized it, so I thought all that was really good. There were just a couple of areas of awkwardness. A lot of the grammar, a lot of the vocabulary, all of it was wonderful. And you understood how to extend all of this. And so I liked that. So in general, I thought it was a really nice task 1. There were just a couple of areas where it was just kind of difficult, but I still think it's a high scoring, it's a good scoring task 1. All right, let's take a look at this as well. We've got your task 2 here. Okay. Experts throughout both developed and developing countries have debated the advantages and disadvantages of encouraging companies to move from metropolitan cities to smaller cities. This essay will look at both sides using the example of Toyota demonstrate and prove points. Demonstrate points and prove arguments. I'm reading what I don't see. That's fine. Okay, yes, that's good. It just asks you what are the benefits and drawbacks. You're saying you're going to look at both. So good. On the one hand, there is ample evidence that moving companies to rural areas contributes to the local economy. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, it may provide working opportunities to the local citizens. Most firms require, careful, local label, and this will eventually create job opportunities, not it, this. Secondly, it may reduce labor and rent costs. Okay. Generally, the cost of labor and renting costs is lower compared to the large cities. For example, recent empirical research from the Japanese Economic Institution showed that Toyota has not only contributed to doubling ing here, the town revenue of the small city called Toyohashi, but also succeeded to reduce its cost compared to when it had its main office in Tokyo. Therefore, comma, it is clear that moving companies, get rid of the, moving companies to the small cities brings profits for both its company and the local cities. Good, excellent, excellent, excellent. On the other hand, although there is a case for economic profit, get rid of the AL, the impact of long distances for the business partners cannot be overstated. For example, by moving its main office to the small town of Toyohashi from Tokyo, all its business partners, this is awkward, all, how about this, of Toyota's business partners have to make, okay, I don't really like this have to make. I'm going to try it one more time. By moving its main office to the small town of Toyohashi from Tokyo, all of Toyota's business partners need to make extra business trips for meetings and negotiations. Fine. Compared to when, I don't really like this because it's exactly what you wrote in the previous paragraph. So it's just too similar. Try to change it up a little bit. How about this? In contrast, when the company was in Tokyo, the time and cost required for transportation can be stated as a negative impact. Okay. That doesn't really work. We have to fix this a little bit. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt that relocating companies to the rural area is not always rational, comma, especially in an E here for the business partners. All right, I want to try that one sentence again because it was kind of awkward. So let's go back here. By moving its main office to the small town of Toyohashi from Tokyo, all of Toyota's partners have to or need to make extra business trips for meetings and negotiations. Let's see, compared to when all the companies were concentrated in Tokyo, the time and cost required for this transportation can be stated as a negative impact. Okay, I understand what you're trying to say. It is a little awkward, but more importantly, I don't like that it's so similar to a lot of the language you had up here. So I really wanted to see a little more variety, okay? All right, so from the arguments and examples given, relocating companies, not its companies, whose companies? So relocating companies to the smaller cities is not economical, get rid of the AL. Benefits, but in terms of working with business partners, there are some drawbacks. It is predicted that connecting the large and small cities with online meeting systems will grow in importance. Okay, I like this, although I don't love your last sentence. You all of a sudden throw in this brand new idea of online meetings, and I didn't really agree with that because you never mentioned anything about online meetings anywhere in your body paragraphs. So remember that you don't want to introduce any new information in your conclusion. You could have just been a little more general. You could have said that it is predicted that such moves to rural locations will continue to grow in importance. Okay, something like that would have been more appropriate. It kind of follows with what you were talking about. And so it works better. And this way, at least you're not introducing any new arguments, okay? All right, let's take a look at this here about world food consumption. This is very brief. Why is it so brief? I don't have a word count here, but let's see. The pie illustrates the world's shared food consumption with a breakdown of 7 different food types in 2014. The most shared food type was meat. Let's see, is it shared? Well, I don't know why you're using the word shared. How about the most consumed food was meat, followed by fish with 31.4 and 27.9 respectively. The least consumed food type was rice with about 2.5, which is nearly half the figure for bread, or the figure of bread, with 5.5. The other three products, fruits, vegetables, and cereals, were about the same percentage at around 1/10, with 10.6, 10.5, and 11.7 respectively. Overall, animal-based foods such as meat and fish accounted for nearly half the total global consumption, singular here. Carbohydrates, get rid of the word food, such as rice, cereal, and bread, only shared less than 1/5 of all. Okay. The important point to be noted, however, is that this pie chart does not have information on individual diets. All right. So I would love to do a word count on this. It did feel rather brief to me. So that's one thing. Second of all, I didn't like this last sentence. It's irrelevant. All right. You're only supposed to be talking about what's included in the chart and not what is not included. So keep that out. Remember, you're only reporting on what you see. I didn't really feel like this was an overview. So this does not have an overview, because this was essentially a conclusion that kind of wraps up the information. But because you used some data, it doesn't feel like an overview. An overview is something that's really general, but doesn't mention any data. So you could have said that meat was the most consumed product, whereas rice was the least. That's it. You're done. All right. So that's one sentence that you absolutely needed to include. Or you could have said that meat and fish were the two most consumed products. And then again, that's it. Okay. So those for me would have been an overview, either one of those, but primarily the first one. All right. So that's that. Then I really felt like you missed a lot of opportunity here to embellish and to kind of extend some of this. Like when you have such few pieces of information here, what did you have? Like 7 pieces of information. What you really need to do is you need to extend. So how can you do that? Well, you don't have sentences like this where you throw 3 things together. I understand why you grouped them, but you needed to do something else, okay? So one thing I would have done here is very much like what you did. I would have said something like, the most consumed food was meat at 31.4%. Following closely behind at, I don't know, what is it? 4% less was fish at 27.9. These two made up over 50% of the world food consumption. So do you see, I'm kind of wrapping it together. So you're kind of showing the trend here that 50% of consumption is for these animal-based products. Okay. Then I probably would have talked about like you did, the least two. I agree with that. I would have said that the least consumed food, as you did, was rice at 2.5%. This is, I don't know, do the math, 15% lower than the meat. Okay, or this is 10 times less than fish. Okay, and then I would say the second least consumed food was bread, which was double the amount of rice. So again, like you did, but just doing a little more. And then I would have said that, let's see, what is it? It's fruits, vegetables, and cereal. Okay, so I would have probably said that these 3 together. So the middle 3 products accounted for approximately 1/3 of all food consumption. More specifically, cereals were the 3rd most consumed product at 11.7%. And the where are we now? 4th and 5th most consumed products were vegetables and fruit, with roughly the same amount at 10.5 and 10.6%. So you can see I'm just extending things a little bit further. But yes, you do need to mention all of these. When you have so few pieces of information, it's going to be impossible to really extend, and you really have to just mention them all. Okay. So, yes, good job, but you do need to extend a little bit more when you have these. Okay. These do come up every now and then, these ones that like don't have a lot of information. So, it's important to know how to work with them. All right. So, good job with these. Are we going to see more essays from you? Would you like to continue working with us? Would you like to sign up for more essay correction? There will be a link with your email telling you how to sign up for some more. So hopefully we can continue to work together and help you progress and prepare for IELTS. So I look forward to hearing from you, and best of luck.